Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is about that time. Keep your hands up and keep your head on a swivel. The Haymakers and Submissions podcast is here. We woke up and chose violence today. Stick and stay for combat sports talk at its finest, coming your way now. And welcome back to Haymakers and Submissions, the podcast for combat sports. My name is Dave Brzezinski Drew, and I am joined, of course, this week, as always, by my co-host and partner, Michael Mills, Big Chops. Chops, how you doing?
Man, it's a good day, man. I'm happy. You know what? And the crazy part is we need to start. We do a lot of good stuff and talk about a lot of good stuff offline, or should I say off air, that our listeners don't get to and watchers don't get to hear. And we were talking about trade deadline. I'm big time on my Steelers. You're rocking your Detroit Lions color. Y'all, there you go. There it is. Absolutely. Finally, both teams made some trades. I'll admit now, the way that you got the bigger name. You got the bigger name, but if it works out, I think we can be an A or like the way that trade, because Williams helps us. You know what I mean? The linebacker gives us depth. Preston gives us depth. So if it works out well, that I'm thinking that could on. And again, it may be the homer in me being a Steeler fan, you know. So I'm saying, hey, you guys, man, Smith. If that's not an A, it's a solid B plus. It's a solid B plus. So, and like I said, people were wondering, were you guys going to get Max Crosby? Were you going to go for Garrett? Were you? And like I told you offline, man, you're talking, first money, cash is king. Mm-hmm. But when you mentioned Max Crosby, when you mentioned who was the other one you were looking at? Garrett, right?
Yep.
So those are top of the line. Those are equal replacements for what you lost. That's being a bit greedy. You know what I mean? Like you said, it would have cost money. And the great part about it is what you guys should have been, and you, I know you've seen it over the last couple of games. Your defense still looks good, and you win without Hutchinson. Now, you've only had, one sack over the last 3 games. But, you know, that's like a baseball team. We may not be home run hitters, but we can manufacture runs. Yeah. The goal, what Herm Edwards say, you play to win the game. That's it. You know what I mean? So I think you guys did well with Smith. It didn't cost you as what it would have cost you with Crosby, what it would have cost you with Garrett. But I think it's going to work out pretty good for you guys as well.
Yeah, I know as a whole the fan base is excited about it. I'm excited about it. Zadarius Smith was actually the guy that made the most sense on paper because he brings the pass rush element you need, and he's an elite pass rusher. I know he's 32, but it's not like you're locked into a 6-year contract with him. He's actually, I was surprised at how much the dead cap money Cleveland's picking up.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
The Lions, if things don't work out or they can't afford to pick up the $9 million next year, they can actually release him without penalty, and that's huge. So
correct.
It's a great movie. I really liked what the Steelers did, getting Mike Williams as a nice compliment for Pickens, and then Smith's a nice player. He's going to give you some depth at least.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's going to be good. It's going to be really good.
Absolutely. And you're talking about Smith. That may work out because I understand he's on the books for $9 million next year. You want to let him go, you let him go. If he renegotiates, maybe kick some of that down the road. But if he has a good season or finishes is pretty strong for you guys, he may realize I can stay here, start, win, do well, because it's not Cleveland, you know what I mean? But you may not start over Hutchinson. You may see what we can do on the other side, as time goes on. But that's depth. And like I said, he'll be a 33-year-old D-end. You know what I mean? There's not a whole lot of big-time contracts given to 33-year-old free agents or 33-year-old D linemen that were cut. You know what I'm saying? So it may work out well. If he proves well over this last half of the season, he may be more depth for you guys as well next year. And that ain't bad depth.
No, man, we're really digging it. But it's been a great year for Detroit fans. But Steelers are a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, man. Hey, we got a tough one.
I've never had anything but love for the Steelers. Even going back in the day, I had a Franco Harris. Remember those Sears jerseys you could get?
Yes.
I had 32. I had 32.
So we'll see, man. This one, I'm telling you what, I'm glad we had the bye week. Lick our wounds, try to get healthy a little bit. Commanders are rolling, man. Commanders look good. And we got to go into I don't even know the name of the stadium now. I'm old school, so I still call it RFK. But you know what I'm saying? So it's going to be rough, man. It's going to be rough. But I'm excited about the second half of the season. I really am.
We're pulling for you.
Man.
Hey, let's jump into some combat sports talk here on Haymakers and submissions. Let's talk some boxing. Oshaki Foster fought Robson Conceição last weekend, and Foster regained his super featherweight crown to WBC portion of it, at least, with a split decision victory. Now, we had a split decision win in this fight, Chops, and this was a rematch from the Conceição win that was also split decision. It was very controversial. A lot of people thought, and I being one of them, that Foster did enough to win that fight. But talk about this one, and what did you like?
Okay. I'll be honest with you, man. Again, I'm the old curmudgeon, the old get off my lawn type of guy. But Oshaki, he's good, and he's good. But a lot of times he doesn't do enough. You know what I mean? There's, what was it, the 5th and 9th, 4th and 10th, somewhere around there. He hurt Conceição twice and couldn't finish him, didn't go after the kill. Okay. But to me, yes, he got robbed in the first one, but it wasn't like they all had ski mask on and held him up at gunpoint, and robbed him. Because when you don't, you outpointed him and you outlanded him. But don't forget, Oshaki moves a lot. Foster moves a lot. And in a lot of people's minds, that's running. And even if you're ducking, maybe you're hitting me more. I may hit you 12 times this round. You may hit me 9. But if you're coming after me, even though I hit you 12 and you only hit me 9, to the naked eye, that may look like, Drew, you were the aggressor. You had ring, you commanded the ring. You had ring command and generalship. Mm-hmm. That goes a long way in a lot of judges' eyes. So, yes, I thought that Foster won the first one, but I wasn't mad about it. I was like, man, he got done dirty. But that's how you fought. You know what I'm saying? You backed up. You had him hurt, but you didn't go after the kill. And I'll get to the second one, but even looking at the first one, because he came with it. He came to fight the first one. He was throwing punches. He wasn't landing a whole lot, but he was trying to run him down, chase him down. And so I wasn't totally upset about the first one. This one, I was almost disappointed in Foster. I'm gonna be honest with you, because you knew what was at stake. You knew how you got robbed last time.
Yeah.
And there's a saying, in MMA, don't leave it in the judge's hands. And it's really in all boxing, all combat sports. Don't leave it in the judge's hands, because you never know how someone will look at it. You know what I'm saying? So having said that, knowing you got robbed before, knowing it didn't go in your way, knowing other fighters with bigger names than you have been robbed, why did you not go at them harder? Why didn't you, for someone like you and I who like the sweet science, for the tactical side of it, we watched it. It was entertaining. Mm-hmm. But if you're trying to gain new fans and you tell them, oh, they're running it back, first time he got robbed, so he's coming for blood or he wants to avenge that loss. This wasn't the fight to do that. Not in my opinion.
Yeah, I was underwhelmed, to be honest. I liked it. I admired the skill set. I mean, they went at it, but I mean, it almost resembled, how like they were fighting at 115. They can throw, they're hitting, they're landing, they're clean. There's nothing behind. There's not a lot behind those shots. Now, they both are good fighters. Don't get me wrong. I was just underwhelmed by. I expected more fireworks. I agree with you. I expected Foster to do more, to put an exclamation point on it at the very least. He did enough to win, in my view. But
yeah. He did. But also on the same token, if the scores would have been closer, or if he'd have lost, or it'd have been a draw, he can't be mad at anyone but himself. Because you knew what was at stake and you didn't come after it. Look, we all know Foster had the deeper toolbox. Foster had the better jab.
Yep.
Foster is the more skilled fighter.
Younger, everything. Yep.
Yes, but you didn't fight like that. You didn't fight with any urgency. You know what I mean? So if it had been a draw and the belt would have remained with Conceição, he'd have been mad, but it wouldn't have been anybody's fault but his own. He just, you know what I'm saying? And he isn't Foster, he's great. He's a great technician, great jab, nice body work, whatever. He moves a little too much for me, and some may say running, but he just doesn't put it all out there. It's not, every fight when you see him, it's not, did he bring it? And I hate to compare him to a De La Hoya, to a Manny Pacquiao, to a Tank. But when those guys fought then or Tank's fighting now, there at some point will be fireworks. Now, yes, I understand that Tank is a knockout artist and maybe Foster isn't, right? But Manny Pacquiao punches in bunches. And in boxing, speed and power, not even so much power, but speed and punches that you don't see can lead to knockouts.
Yes.
But Foster doesn't fight that way. He doesn't throw punches that way. That's not him. You know what I mean? So I get it, So, but it was a boring fight. But yes, I watched it. But I didn't go away from it. That was a good one. I didn't say that. And just to be honest with you, they had two. It's 1-1. I don't want to see a trilogy. What's the use? You know what I mean?
That was going to be my next question. That was going to be my next question. In theory, there is, right? Because they split. We got to have the rubber match, right? But at the same time, this isn't Gotti Ward. This isn't Morales Pacquiao, Morales Barrera. This isn't my Marquez.
No.
Yeah. This is.
It's not Frazier Ali. No, not at all. Not at all.
These fights just were underwhelming to me. And maybe I hyped them too much in my head, Chops. I don't know. I mean, I like both fighters. I think they're both really skilled. Conceição impressed me over the last couple of years. And I really like Foster a lot. I just didn't see, like you said, he didn't do enough. I mean, Conceição is a good argument for getting a rematch, but I'm not sure who wants to really see it.
Okay, well, here's the thing. And you're right in theory, because they're 1-1, so it should be. But when you truly start to break it down, like we break down film, break down a fighter, his whatever have you, okay. Foster won the first one, right? It wasn't. I think he got robbed, not a huge robbery, but he won that one. Yeah. He got the decision this one. He still, I thought we both had him winning. I think he could have done more, but he has done enough to get the win, right?
Yeah.
What really on that aspect, if I'm Foster, I say, dude, I beat you twice. I got robbed in the first one. I got this one. So why would you want to? Why would he want to? But like you said, on paper, it's 1-1. Conceição, if they fight it 1,000 times, it's going to be the same thing. Foster's not going to do enough, but he'll have the better toolbox. He'll eke him out. He may get the win. He may not, but he'll look better in all of our eyes to where he should eke it out. But he may or may not get the decision. Conceição is going to continue to try to do what he does. And I think this will be like the first one. Oh, let's put it this way. If that fight had been in black and white, right? Both fights were in black and white. You couldn't have told me a difference really in either fight. You know what I'm saying? Because they were so mirror of each other. You know what I'm saying? They were so mirror of each other. So you're right. In theory, yes, they can run it back, but I hope they don't. I really hope they don't.
I think we're on the same page there. But hey, give them both a tip of the cap, man. I mean, they both stood in front of each other and slugged out to distance twice. I mean, they're hell fighters. But yeah, I think they both need other challenges at this point.
Yeah.
Especially
yes,
Foster.
Absolutely. Now for Conceição, what is it? He had lost his first 3 title shots, got to 4th on Foster and won it. So now he's 1 for 5. Where does he go? He's always going to try to bring it. He's always coming at you. Get knocked out or whatever. He's coming at you. Yeah. So yeah, he's an entertaining fighter like that, but I don't think he deserves another title shot in any organization. But he's exciting to some degree. But he's older, so who really wants to put money in that to see it? So I don't know. Foster, you can step up, man, but you're going to have to step up the opponents are out there for him to step up to. It's just a matter of you've got to step your aggression, your game up. So
yeah, and I'll tell you what, I would strongly encourage him that not to make a move up in a weight class until because he will find himself on the canvas.
No. Yeah. But here's the thing. I don't know how many fights it would take for him to establish he can do more, because you are who you are. You are who you are. You know what I mean? And even if you come out trying to try something new, as soon as things don't go right, as soon as you get hit with that first hard body shot, that first chin check, a lot of fight, you're human nature. You're going to resort back to what you know.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So now he moves up to try to fight better fighters. They're going to have the power, the know-how, and size to cut that ring off. and do what maybe Conceição wasn't able to do. You know what I mean? So I don't see him. And honestly, no disrespect, I don't think guys should move up in weight unless you're definitely fighting in a weight class where you shouldn't. And I say that because your weight cuts are terrible. The weight cuts are hard. They're just draining. Move up. Or you dominated your weight class. There's nothing else here for me. Everybody wants to see me take that jump. They want to see me fight the better fighters and get the bigger paydays. Yeah. But when you're barely squeaking by in the weight class you're in against a guy who nobody thought even deserves a title shot, nah, man, you can't make that make sense to me. You know what I mean?
You're right. You're 100% right on that. No question. Let's talk about a couple of guys that I think will light a few more fireworks this Friday. And that's going to be in Norfolk, Virginia, the home of Keyshawn Davis, as he takes on Gustavo Lemos Friday night, November 8th. Chops, this is going to be a good fight here, man. I'm looking at the tail of the tape here, and Davis 11-0, and Lemos is 29-1. Now Lemos lost his last fight against Richard Hitchens. It was a 12-round unanimous decision, and that was in April of this year. So his last fight was in April. Davis has fought twice this year now. His last fight was in June against Miguel Moreno, and then and that was a unanimous. He got the decision there in 10, and then Pedraza in February he had the TKO in 6. So he's 11-0 now. Yeah. But man, I tell you what, these guys, I like this matchup. But there's a 3-inch height advantage for Davis, and actually about a 4-inch reach advantage for Davis in this fight. So it's kind of unique. This is the first fight that I can remember watching him where he's got kind of a significant size advantage.
I know.
So let's talk about this one here. Let's talk about Keyshawn Davis. What do you like about him?
Well, first off, more than in the ring stuff, his other 2 brothers are on the card. So it's basically a family affair. Mm-hmm. They are, I don't know if they're honoring Pernell Whitaker or whatever, because Pernell Whitaker is from Norfolk, and he's and Shawnee was always a big fan of his. And now through his work, Shawnee has become good friends with Parnell's dad and another family member of Whitaker's. You know what I mean? So he just Norfolk, small town, both doing it at the highest level. Now, Keyshawn, you're good. You're not Parnell yet. You know what I mean? So give it time. But I'm interested to see how this goes. But I'll be honest with you. I tip my hat to Shawnee, right? Because when I say Shawnee, Keyshawn, right? To Shawnee, right? Because for this homecoming, your hype, there's going to be a lot of stuff on his mind. Everybody, let me get tickets. He's at every radio station promoting it this week. No matter where he goes, Shawnee, and he's home, and he's fighting at home in front of people he knows, people he grew up with.
Yeah.
They say that adds a lot of pressure to fighters that they don't normally think about. Think about it. There's a lot of fighters that leave town for their camp. They don't even want their families around for camp because they need to be in a proper headspace. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, I don't know Shawnee. I don't know Keyshawn from Adam's House Cat. So I don't know that that'll have any effect on them, but we know it has other fighters. So that's something you might want to look out for. You might want to peep that. But also, Lemos, I understand that. 3 inches shorter?
Yep.
4-inch reach advantage. Now, you know me. I don't pay attention to that. However, in this case, the reach advantage is going to be noticeable because Lemos has been said before, for his weight and height, he has short arms. He sort of really does. And Shawnee's jab is going to be noticeable and is going to be a range finder. That jab is going to be a range finder. And I think I can't say keep Lemos at bay because Lemos does not fight at bay. And to be honest with you, to me, he's a better Pedraza. Because they're damn near similar. So yes, I expect there to be fireworks, and I expect Shawnee to be pinpoint accurate, but I expect Lemos to bring it. I expect Lemos to bring the fight. Your hometown, your front door, in your front yard. Let's do it. Let's bang.
They both got power. Davis has 7 KOs in 11 fights, and Lemos has 19 KOs in 20 and 30 fights. So they both got some pop in their shots, right? I wouldn't call them KO artists, but I really like. But I agree. I think there's a kind of a contrast in styles a little bit. Lemos is definitely more of an aggressor. But Davis is smooth, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I love watching him fight. At the time, we'll talk about Boots shortly here, but Ennis, Davis, and Stephen Fulton, they all kind of came out around the same time, and they're all really good fighters. But Davis is kind of starting to distinguish himself a little bit. Fulton took the loss against Inoue, but that was a big fight for him to take.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the best ever, at least in the last 10 years in his weight. But I have a lot of hopes still for Fulton. But this is a big fight for Davis. And I agree with you. I think it's true of any sport, right? You get people pulling on you for tickets, pulling on you for time, and more than any sport, boxing just requires, like you said, fighters leave town to go to training camp because they need solitude, no distractions.
Absolutely.
Unless you're Roberto Duran, of course, in which case you do whatever you want, right? But
and what happened? And as soon as Sugar Ray lost him the first time, it wasn't 24 good hours. He said, "I want a rematch." Once he saw that your boy Duran was home partying and celebrating, he said, "I want him back. I want to run it back." So you're right, man. But even remember Ali, he used to go to a spot called Deer Lakes, which where I'm from is not where I'm from, and it was isolated. His camp was isolated. It was a long dirt road you had to go back to even get to his camp. Yeah. So, and as much as Shawnee wants to stay in the mind frame, when you're in the gym, you're in the gym. I get that. But there's a reason, like we said, fighters leave, because even when you're not training, you need to be in character, for lack of a better term, where you're still in it. We're talking boxing, we're eating boxing, we're watching film, we're watching tape. You're at home, man, in your hometown. You're not going to be able to do that. So I'm big dog, but I'm interested to see how this goes. I really am. And you're right. Wouldn't call Lemos a knockout puncher and a knockout artist, but he throws punches in bunches, and he does throw with bad intentions, and he keeps the pressure on. But so did Pedraza. But Shawnee's jab worked that out. Now, Shawnee, to me, Shawnee's KO come with his speed and his accuracy. And when he throws it, he lands it solid. I'm not calling him a power puncher, but his speed, when his jab, when he pops it out there, it's solid, and he'll set it up with something they don't see, but it's solid.
Yeah, I mean, being from the Detroit area, the Kronk school is that jab's a weapon.
Woo.
The Kronk jab, the double jab. To me, I mean, there's a time and place to use it as a rangefinder, and I can understand that. But at the same time, to me, if I'm throwing my hand, I'm going to throw it. I mean,
yeah.
Well, that's discipline. It's a wake up call. I mean, go ask Mike Tyson how Buster Douglas beat him. You start eating a solid jab for 6 rounds straight.
Yeah,
you start feeling it. I mean, it's what it is.
And I'll be honest with you. I'm glad you said that you wouldn't use your jab as a rangefinder, because I don't know if you meant that's how I thought he would use his jab, because that is what I said. But when I said he'll use his jab as a rangefinder, I meant he'll keep popping it out there so Lemos can't just walk him down.
Oh, yeah, and that's smart. That's strategy.
Yeah. He's going to be like, I understand you throw a lot of punches. Don't understand, Lemos, you throw a lot of power punches. I understand you want to fight in close, you want dirty boxing, you want to fight in a phone booth. I get all that. And I know Shawnee gets all that. However, he needs to let Lemos know, coming in here, that ain't for free. That ain't for free.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You can come into the Lions Den, but there's a toll for that. There's a toll for that. So I did say rangefinder, but I meant when he pops that jab out, let him know you can't come in online. You gotta come offline. You got to get head movement. You got to slow down when you come in. You can't just come in winging punches, because I'll stick you all day. You know what I mean?
It's like going across the mill with your head down. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
You've got to give somebody a reason to keep your head on a swivel, right?
Exactly. So I'm interested to see. And there's going to be fireworks, man, now. And then also, here's the thing. He's main event, so he's last. I don't know how it's set up. I would assume he may have his own locker room, but his brothers and a couple other fighters may share a locker room. I don't know how it's set up, so forgive my whatever have you know.
Yeah.
But even some larger venues, multiple fighters will share a locker room. So they may very well all be. So my now question is this: where we've seen other fighters watch fights on the closed circuit in the arena, how will it affect him if either one of his brothers or both his brothers win in spectacular fashion or get ran out the box and destroyed. Because then you think about it, because then at that point, I'm the one everybody's here to see. But if my brothers came and took their opponents out early or won in spectacular fashion, will he, being at home, watch what his brothers have done, will he feel the urge to do that? If his brothers lost, they got knocked out or they lost, took a pretty fair beating, does he come out and say, I need to avenge the name. I need to send these people home with you just never know how all that'll play. You don't know how that'll play in somebody's psyche. So I'm interested. I'm interested to see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, and you don't know. I don't know what his corner is like with him. I don't know how they communicate with him. We talk about this a lot. A lot of corners aren't honest with their fighters.
Yeah, I know.
But to me, he's only got 11 pro fights under his belt. And I get that, but at the end of the day, you're a pro fighter, a very good pro fighter, and those are distractions. But to me, those got to get blocked out. No, his sole focus needs to be on Lemos. That's it.
Drew, and normally I would agree with you, and you are right. So I'm agreeing with you. But think about it: seasoned fighters that have had more cachet, bigger belts, bigger fights than he does, still go away to an isolated camp. So there's got to be something to being home or being around the family. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see. But I do believe fireworks are going to fly. I'll be surprised if it goes. I want to say I'd be surprised if it goes a different distance. Mm-hmm. I don't think it'll go to. I really don't. I don't think it'll go to distance.
So you got winning.
He's at home. Hype. I'm gonna go Keyshawn. I'm gonna go Keyshawn. I know Lemos would love to come in there and spoil everything, but I'm gonna go Keyshawn.
I'm gonna go with Davis too. I do think it'll go to distance. It's only a 10-round fight. It's not a 12-round fight.
That's true. That's true.
Somewhat of a difference. I'm gonna give Lemos credit for being he's a pretty damn tough fighter, to be honest with you. I think he can take some shots, and I've watched some highlights of him. He can absorb some punches, and certainly to give Davis fits at times. At the end but I do think Davis will do enough to win, especially being at home. But I think this will be his most impressive win. It's certainly his highest ranked opponent, I believe, that he's fought in his career, in a short career. Davis.
Yeah.
Easy. So, got to respect that. We're talking about guys that haven't fought in over a year, and this guy's going on his third fight.
Third of the year, yes.
So, I'll tip the cap there. But yeah, I'm a big fan of his. I'm really hoping. No disrespect to Lemos, but I really like Keyshawn Davis. I see a bright future ahead for him. I'd like to see him in some main events.
And here's the crazy part. Because you had to remind me that it was 10 rounds, because I was thinking 12. But I was going late stoppage, 10 or 11. So now I'm going 9 or 10. There may be 30 seconds left, but I think Davis will get him out of there. I think Davis will get him out of there.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. I'd love to see it. That'd be awesome, man. So that's going to be a good one on Friday. That's on ESPN Plus. Yeah, now we're going to talk about the Saturday contest here. And this is a rematch for the IBF Welterweight Championship. And we'll talk about the IBF once again. Jaron Boots Ennis against Karin Chukhadzhian. And that's a difficult name to pronounce, but it's Chukhadzhian. That's how it's pronounced. And that's in Philly. Guess what? That's Boots' hometown.
Boots' home, yeah.
So here's I got to bring this up. Before we analyze the fight. This is a rematch from January of 23 now. This is an IBF mandatory rematch. No disrespect to Chukhadzhian at all, but the judges it was a unanimous clean sweep. 120-08 on that scorecard.
Yes.
Why the hell this is the third mandatory that the IBF has forced a champion to take? That makes no sense. I give you Usyk. He had to relinquish the belt because
that's what we wanted.
Why Tyson Fury wouldn't be the mandatory, and there was a rematch clause anyways. Again, that's another topic for another day, right? But I mean, what the hell? And then we had also with Beterbiev too.
Yeah. I mean, well, remember we went over this. You and I. IBF, first off, now they're making money. They're making money because they're going to see that, whatever have you. Should be a pretty good turnout. Not a lot of money in this fight, but they'll make some. You're in Philly, Boots and his hometown guy. You fight this Vegas, New York. Maybe some guys will travel, some fans will travel from New York or Philly to New York. But you fight this anywhere else, it's not a big draw. Listen to me. When you literally get whitewashed, not around. Kareem is not really a knockout artist. I don't think he's considered a knockout artist. What you know what I mean?
He's 24-2 with 13 knockouts. Now his only other loss, literally, it was like his debut. He fought in like a tournament in the Ukraine. I quite frankly don't have a lot of background on it, and he lost the second fight of that tournament. So he technically lost in his debut, and then he won straight up to where he took on Boots. And
but I don't remember. I don't know his record. And I should have had it, and who is his list. But I gotta believe his opponent before Boots, then to Boots was a huge step up. Huge step up. And I don't believe he's fought anybody to Boots' caliber since. You know what I mean? So I just don't see how he's gotten better. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, I just don't see how he's getting better. Now, maybe he would. I find it hard to believe Boots will win every round again. I mean, I don't believe he'll win every round again, but I believe Boots will win this by 3-4 points. If it goes the distance, Boots will win this by at least 3-4 points.
Here's the thing with Chukhadzhian, and I saw the first fight. I remember there was a PBC fight back in January of 23. Chukhadzhian moves extremely well.
Yeah.
He's not a runner, but he's a very slick moving fighter. He's an orthodox fighter where Boots is orthodox naturally, but he was every other round. He was going, and he fought a lot of southpaw.
Yeah.
It's like Chukhadzhian did everything right except throw a lot of punches and with bad intentions at all. He landed some punches, and they were nice counter punches. Like there was this nice, he was able to slide away from the jab when Boots was fighting southpaw and was able to counter with a quick right. But again, it was a wide open shot. Yeah, it scored, it counted, but it didn't hurt him. Those have to make an impact.
Well, here's the thing. He landed it quite a few times, but never hurt him.
No.
If you don't have the power, you don't have the power. Now, also, neither of us can speak for him. Was he confused? And when I say was he confused, like I said, he's switching every round. You don't see that. And a lot of fighters take that first round, 2 rounds. Some take a few more rounds to figure out their opponent. But if your guy's switching stance every round, you're not getting his timing. You're not getting the distance. You're not getting foot placement. You're not going to throw the same game plan at an orthodox fighter you would at a southpaw. You know what I mean? So you're just not going to. So having said that, now I'm interested to see what differences your boy Boots makes. Because he could come out and say, I'm going orthodox most of the fight and switch 6 rounds, flip it up. As soon as Kareem gets his momentum, his timing, I'll switch it up. Maybe he feels he's coming out and losing a round. I'll switch it from orthodox to southpaw or vice versa. I don't know, man. And I'm just saying this, just trying to give us something where I'm going to watch the fight regardless. But I'm trying to do something to hype myself up to want to see it. Because of right now, you can't convince me there's a reason we need to watch this fight. Can't. And I'm telling you now, if I was talking to a casual fan or someone that didn't know boxing, I'd tell them, you need to watch this fight because this Boots Ennis he's nice. You know,
And I look at this like a relay race. Triple G passed the baton to Boots. Or to Bud, and then Bud passed to Boots, because those are all fighters that are fantastic fighters to watch. I agree with you 100%. I will always watch a Boots Ennis fight. I think he's one of the best pure boxers in the sport right now. But
but you've been a Boots fan since day one. You've been a Boots fan since day one, well before he got his status. So having said that, and Boots just turned 27. He just turned 27 a few months ago. So he is still a young buck. You know what I mean? He's still got some good years, some good fights in him. So we'll see, come out. And I'm going to go Boots, like I said, by a good 3-4 points. And let's put it this way. I don't think it'll be close. I just don't think it'll be close. If this hypothetically, just follow with me, just follow me. if you could put Kareem's punching power, not his skill set, but you could put his punching power in the same category as a Tank, the same left hook out of nowhere that could hurt you and do devastating work, like Frazier, then possibly. But he didn't really have that.
No.
So yes, leather's flying, anybody can get hit, anybody can get chin checked, anybody can go out. That's why they do it. That's the nature of the beast. I get that. Yeah. But you and I sitting here now talking about this, I don't see a way Kareem can get this W. I just don't.
There's a reach advantage for Boots. You could kind of see that a little bit in about a 5-inch reach advantage. Height wise, they're almost equal. They're like half-inch difference, 5'10" and 5'9.5". But I mean, Boots is 32-0 at 29 knockouts. What I love, to me, he's surgical in that ring.
True.
When he takes the first 2 rounds to kind of size his opponent up, he's still active. He's still throwing that jab. It is more in this
a rangefinder, so to speak, because
but it's scoring. It's
got a little pop to it.
Yep, and he's going high, he's going low, he's doing all kinds of different stuff. He's seeing how his opponent reacts to the angle of the punch, and it's like I swear he's like a damn computer in the ring. Because then round figured out, and now you better be able to handle it because Boots is no joke. I mean, like I said, he's getting the Triple G Bud Crawford treatment. He's getting avoided like a plague.
Yes,
pick up a fight like this. Okay, he's fighting. He's going to keep that strap. And he's going to handle it at home. I agree with you. I don't think to say it's a shutout like that, I mean, that's stretching. I would never be able to predict that. But
no, man, because think about it. I don't care who you think is the greatest fighter. I don't care. They don't have straight shutouts. Even if they've only lose 1 round or 2 out of a 12 rounder. But to get whitewashed that was crazy. That was crazy.
Hell, even that, I don't know if you remember back in the day when Leonard fought Terry Norris.
Yes.
Huge mistake. But even that fight, Leonard took a round or 2.
Yeah.
He's going to win. Ennis will win convincingly. But at the same time, I'm really curious, though, assuming he's going to win this fight, who's next for him? Because I read Eddie Hearn said they reached out to Mario Barrios. And then you've got possibly maybe Conor Benn out there.
Cool.
He's interesting.
Yeah.
Barrios would be a good fight, but I would like to see him fight Conor Benn. I think that would be interesting.
Absolutely. Now are they doing it in the States or where are they doing it?
Well, to me, Boots is the champ. So I mean, if they want to do
that's true. But here's the thing though. But we've seen a lot of these fights overseas. You know what I mean? Now, I'll admit this isn't one that would get Turk involved to put his money, the Saudi money up. I don't think Boots versus Conor would get Saudi money. But you are seeing a lot of these fighters go overseas, whether they're fighting in London. Like Dubois. Didn't he beat Jackson in London? Wasn't that in London?
Yeah, but he's from there. So,
you know what he is. And and I forget about that every time until I hear him talk. I don't know why. I just don't consider. I don't correlate that.
No, you're right, because he wouldn't think he is, right? Unless
I know.
But the thing is, I think you make a lot of sense though. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I think it might draw a bigger gate if it's in London.
Oh yes, absolutely. I mean, because here, if you're not deep into the game, you may not know Conor Benn. You might not remember his father and the history and all that, the lineage with it. You may not be following Boots Ennis because Boots still is not getting the love. To me, he's not getting the love that or the press that Haney, even after the loss, is getting. Ryan Garcia, even after the PEDs, he's getting. He's not getting the love Tank was getting. You know what I mean? They're not talking about him, Ennis, like they talk about Bivar or Better Biev, or you know what I mean? So maybe it would be better for him to go over there, only because Conor's people will be there. You know what I'm saying? They'll be there. So that'll be interesting to see where they take it. Now, also because I am the champ and I'll give your guy a shot to get this strap. Maybe he could demand a little more. Exactly. Maybe he can a little bit of a little bit.
That 60-40 split just became 70-30.
Yes. Exactly.
But hey, I mean that that's a fair trade-off. You get the fight in your home turf.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
You're the challenger.
Yeah, absolutely. Work at 70-30 on the purse, then maybe tell Connor, I'll give you a little bit more of the gate, or maybe he gets a little bit more of the gate. These are your people, so you guys need to really produce. I'm already paid. As in, me, I'm already paid as in Ennis, so he can tell Connor, yo, do this, do that, or whatever. If it shakes out that way, we'll see.
We will see. That's gonna be great. Anytime you get to see Boots, man, it's gonna be a good night. So I'm happy about that. Let's talk about your boy Ryan Garcia, King Rye. Somehow he's gonna fight in January in an exhibition. Apparently, it's gonna be star-studded with musical guests and what have you. What do you think of this, Chops?
Well, he's going to get paid. Business decision. And as long as you say exhibition, he's good. Now, he couldn't do this in the States, but he could do this, because they don't sanction. They don't regulate anything over there. So I think it's phenomenal. And he gets to keep in shape. Now, he has to be clean. He has to be. He's got to look crisp. He has to come out and dominate this fight. He has to, because he's already looked at. We've seen other guys get boosted and clipped for PEDs and they're suspended, whatever have you. So I'm interested to see how he, as in Garcia, gets treated once he's back here in the States after he serves a suspension, because he hasn't taken a route to where people were looking at him sideways. They realized he didn't make it. Don't forget, they thought he was crazy anyway. But remember, they thought he was crazy leading up to the fight. And we talked about it. You can't put him in there with Haney because, it just seemed like he was going off the rails. So he fooled all of us. But now he's doing this, making money. Let me tell you something. Well, let me hear you talk about the fight, because before I'm going to go into something else about Garcia. What do you got on this one?
Well, I agree with that. I think he's smart for doing it. Obviously, he's been advised well. He's going to get his name out there again. He's going to get a big payday, I'm sure. And it's an exhibition, so he stays in shape.
It's the Saudi money. Saudi money.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, like I respect the shit out of his ability. I didn't like him before the Haney fight. I really have a problem with the things he said, and I'm not getting into it. It's not worth it. I don't respect the cheating, although I think that's being taken to the nth degree a little bit by the other side. But at the same time, it's like, to have his skill set and his ability, I don't get the shortcuts, and I don't get the nonsense. I think there's definitely still a problem there. And Haney was a good matchup for him. I mean, Tank wasn't.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I don't know. It's kind of a non-story to me in the sense that it's like, okay, do your thing, but
man. You think this is a non-story?
For me, because I'm like, I'm just not interested in Ryan Garcia right now. What you got to show me you're serious about your craft, and all I see is social media garbage from him.
Well, here's the thing. Well, again, see that's your problem, like mine. We're old school.
Yeah,
We're old school. You know what I mean? So on that aspect, but that's how everybody does now. Your boy Don King, which I didn't even know was still in the business. I hadn't even seen Don King in ages, and he reaches out to Turki Al-Sheikh. Yo, let's get together and let's do some business. Turki Al-Sheikh, if he's done nothing, he knows you. Sheikh already has money without you, King. And I'm quite sure your reputation precedes you. Why would Turki get in bed with Don King at all? I don't get it at all. I just don't get it. You know what I mean? Can't knock the hustle. King, you cheated a lot of guys out of money and they continue to sign with you. Hey, I can't be mad. You worked it. It is what it is. But I just don't see why Sheik would want to do it. But for me, I still think Garcia has a nice skill set.
Oh, yeah.
I think he has a nice skill set. And because of what he's coming off of, what he needs to look like, what is in the future, I'm interested to see this fight, man. I really am. And I know, oh, man, you can't tell me when the Haneys, Bill really, the dad, found out. I know he broke every dish in the house. I know he was hot. I mean, smoke 38 pistol. I know he was hot. He had to have been. Think about it. They don't think it's enough for him to be suspended. They're suing him. They're suing him. So is the boxing world, most part of it, pretty much clowns Devin. Garcia said, I'll continue to clown, continue to go after you guys on social media. Oh, but in the meantime, Al-Sheikh is going to give me a couple million. I don't think he's walking out of there with less than 4 to 5 million. I really, even though it's an exhibition, I don't think he's walking out with less than 4 to 5 million. That ain't a bad payday while you're suspended.
No.
While you're suspended. I really don't. Did you see where Garcia poked fun and taunted Bill? He showed a picture of himself with the phone and put it ground level and said, this is what it looked like when I was standing over your son. And I mean,
no, I like that. That
yes.
was.
let me ask you something. Point blank, period. Answer however you want. Is Devin Haney done? Did Garcia ruin Haney?
Man, I tell you what, you can make. I won't say ruin, but I would say he's put a serious seed of doubt in his head, and that should ruin a fighter, honestly. And I think Devin Haney is really such a great fighter. I really do. I hope that didn't happen, but I can't help but think that it did.
And okay, go ahead. No.
Finish, I mean, the way they're backpedaling. I mean, hell, I remember being a kid. I didn't want my dad to go to the school bully's house and knock on the door and talk to his parents about it because that was just going to get my ass in
yes
deeper. You know, and shame me. Sometimes you got to take your medicine and live the fight another day. And
yes, and there's a thing in a fight game. I got beat. Let's run it back. Somebody in our neighborhood get beat. As soon as you walked in the house, Dad was like, get back out there and fight him. Get back out there and fight him.
It's the best advice.
So it's hard for me to believe that even Bill was like, yeah, let's sue this guy. Let's press charges. Are you kidding me, Jack? Press charges? You missed me with that. But also, real quick, on the same token, man, when we think about it, you knew he had PEDs. You knew he had PEDs. You haven't even scheduled, as they used to call it, a tomato can. You haven't scheduled anyone to try to get back.
Yeah.
Also,
I know he's working. That's why I showed that picture. He's working.
Okay. But did you see live video of him sparring? Or is that the picture you saw?
No, I just took that picture. I just saw he's been working in the gym. I didn't see anything of him sparring though. I can tell you that. But he is
that's working. The thing. Because you'll get that lather from just hitting the bag. Mm-hmm. And not trying to be ignorant, as long as of a layoff as you've had enough time. You could have signed somebody else and been back on the horse. I do, man. I think Garcia has ruined Haney. And the only way, I don't need you to even avenge your loss to Garcia. I need you to get back in the ring and show me you still got it. Yeah. And here's the thing. I understand he was juiced up. I understand he was heavy. But geez, was he landing that left hook without issue, uncontested. It'd be different if he would have had his hand up and he was punching through it. That's not what happened. Hands down here. You mean to tell me, has he always been, now that I'm thinking about it, has he always been that suspect to a left hook? Because I don't remember people saying that, and I don't remember a whole lot of fighters going for it.
That's a good question. There's not that many fighters that have a lead left hook like that.
That's true. That's true.
Real. Yeah. But shame on him because you're fighting. That's one of the guys that does, and he's elite.
Yeah.
You got to be aware. I mean, it's just Bill Haney. When I hear Bill Haney speak or see videos, I start rubbing my eyes. I'm like, is that LeVar Ball? I'm like,
I know.
Bill. They're trying to live vicariously through their kids.
And here's the thing, and I'll be honest with you. LeVar Ball got on my nerves only because he assumed all his sons were just as good as Jordan. I don't have a problem his trying to get his children to the next level. Just like when Archie Manning told the Chargers, my son's not playing for you. He will not play for that organization. You want to do what you thought was best for your son. I still think Phillip Rivers was being a better quarterback. He doesn't have the rings that Manning has, but I do think player for player, position for position, I thought Phillips was better. However, that's neither here nor there. So I don't begrudge Haney for trying to get the best for his son. That I get. But again, suing, not telling him, let's get back on the horse. Take 2 months, lick your wounds. then we're putting feelers out to anybody from 15 down. You don't want to take a top 10 fighter. I get that. Maybe 15 down. Who's out there? Who will sign us? You know what I'm saying? Who will sign us? Yeah. Because this, to me, just in the gym, you're wasting valuable months to see. I don't know, man. I don't know. Because yes, now the image of him getting beat and how he got beat is sticking in our minds. Where if when it had come out, you, or should I say Garcia was roided up, he had PEDs, take it in, I got beat. We see why he lost heavy. He was heavy. He had PEDs. When he's ready to fight and be an honest, fair fighter, I'll fight him again. Until then, on to the next one. And sign somebody else. You didn't do that. You're sitting here and then you want to call out Jack Catterall. Here's the thing. Catterall would be perfect because he doesn't have power. You do have a better skill set than Catterall. You can go over there and make the money. You know what I mean? You don't have to hear. I think American fans will be harder on Haney than the British fans right now. Even though you're fighting, but see, that hatred that he'll get from the British fans is because or the Scottish fans, wherever they fight it, because it would be you're fighting their fighter.
Yeah.
Here, you're going to catch hell for pressing charges and ducking for so long. It'll be totally different hate. You know what I'm saying? So, but then you want to call out Catterall. Don't call him out. Don't act like a tough guy now on a guy that you know can't take a power shot, on a guy you know you're better than, on a guy that you know has no power. Your camp, reach out to his camp, sign it. Then, just like we see this one with Garcia, we don't hear about it until it's signed. That's what Haney should have done. Don't call somebody out and then Eddie Hearn could pay for this and he could make this fight work. But I think Haney still thinks I'm Big Bad Haney pounding his chest. He's going to want our feet money. He's going to want the Saudis to get into it because he's going to ask for a much bigger payday. I don't care if he was roided or not. The last visual we see is you sitting down, you crying, you suing, you not coming back. Yeah. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. It's just not a good look. I think mentally he's done. I think mentally he's done.
I hope you're wrong, but the facts actually kind of lean that way. I guess I'm hesitant to say he's done, but I think he's been significantly impacted. There's no doubt about that. I don't know if he can recover from it, but we shall see.
Okay, so let me ask you this real quick. With Haney, if he fights Catterall, does he need an impressive knockout win or impressive 3 to 4 point win? If he squeaks him out by a point or two, do you say he's back? If he's in a bloodbath, do you say he's back? What do you need to see from Haney, if it's Catterall or if it's anybody, for you to say, oh, yeah, he's back. He's good. He's good.
Well, to be honest with you, if the terms are what we just illustrated, where he would go over, across the pond and fight him, in Scotland, Scotland would probably be the UK, but
yeah.
But at the end, if he's fighting basically on his home turf, if he were to get a decision there, it's probably going to be an impressive win. So I think if he's able to beat Catterall over there, it will be an impressive fashion. Whether it's certainly if it's a bloodbath or a KO, of course, but if he gets the decision there, that would be very impressive.
Yeah. I feel you.
Easier said than done, because one thing Catterall does have is elite speed.
Yeah,
he is cat-like quick in there, and not like that we talked about. In the last fight, Chukhadzhian, but he's fast but doesn't have those hands.
Yeah,
Catterall is what you'd want him to be like.
Yes,
same speed, but he's got some pop. Not a KO artist, but he's got pop.
Yeah. But that's all he needs in his over there across the pond. He gets a couple of those flurries. He might not do much damage, but that's going to score points. Crowd's going to go crazy. That will affect the judges at the end of every round who they give it to. So you're right. If he gets the victory, the decision, he would have to have won it in spectacular fashion. So if he does that, you're like, yeah, he's back. He's good.
Yeah.
Because right now, if they fought in Vegas, they fought in Australia, they fought in Dubai, nobody's home. Let's say, hypothetically, I'm just picking Australia.
Okay.
If they fought in Dubai, right? Do you think Catterall can beat Haney? Would you say Catterall's a better fighter?
If we see the best version of Devin Haney, like we saw maybe against when he fought Prograis, he fought Devin Haney at his best, I think beats Jack Catterall probably like 116, 112. Just being honest. Maybe even 117, 111. That's not, I know that sounds like a blowout, but it's not really. I mean, it's
I got you.
Like an 8-4 fight or maybe a 9-3 fight, depending on the situation. But I think apples to apples, if Haney's on his game and Catterall's on his game, I think Haney's the better fighter. But again, the mental aspect of this is huge, because if he has any doubts in his mind, Catterall's going to give him big problems.
Yeah.
But I don't think he can beat a Jack Catterall if he's not right up here. That's just
Catterall is scrappy. I'm interested to see where it goes. Brother.
I like that seed. You planted that seed. I like that. I'd like to see that fight.
We'll see. Man, it is haymakers and submissions. Moreno fought Albazi 50-45 on all three cards. You look at his face, man. I mean, Albazi tried to give as good as he got, but Moreno is just too much. He's still young. He's strong. He's a young lion. Moreno is just too much. That's what it was, man. He won every round handily, convincingly, and he won the fight convincingly.
I did see it. It was a good fight, even though it was entertaining.
But you knew Moreno won every round. It was entertaining, but he won every round. Yeah.
Yep, no question about that. Yeah. And that was last week. And then this week, let's talk about Fight Night 247.
Magny is a good guy. He's good. He's getting up in age. I think he's 36, 37 now. Prates is a younger cat, 31. Prates is on a 6 or 7 fight win streak, so he's got momentum. I'm not calling Magny a gatekeeper because that's disrespectful to some of these guys who have been pioneers. But I don't want to say pioneers, but who have been in the game a long time and who used to be like that. Now they're fighting young guys coming in just see how they do. So I'm not going to call Magny a gatekeeper, but he's 3-3 in his last 6 fights. You know what I mean? But it's a true case, when the leather starts flying, anything can happen. Magny is strong. He's lanky. He's wiry, but he's strong. But he really is. So I think it will be an entertaining fight. I like Magny, but I'm gonna have to go with Prates in this one. I'm going with Prates. I like Magny, but I'm just gonna go with Prates, man. I really am.
I wasn't sure. Is that an ESPN Plus fight pay-per-view? That's ESPN.
Yeah, not a pay-per-view.
It's just on Plus. Okay.
The UFC fight nights are ESPN 99.99. I don't think there might have been a UFC fight night that was a pay-per-view, but normally the actual UFC 307, UFC, those, and some of those are even on ESPN, but 90% of the time, the UFC 307, UFC 120, those are pay-per-views, and the UFC fight nights are on ESPN. Now, this may be ESPN Plus because it's Saturday night and we're in college football season. So It might be ESPN Plus.
That's a good point. Yep. Hey, any last thoughts before we wrap this one up, Chops?
Man, no, not really. I'll be honest with you, man. Next week, we are a combat sports, podcast. So we will look into coming up John Jones and Miocic, Stipe. So that's going to be a good one. We'll see what shakes out in these fights. And also, my younger cousin is going to join us. He is ranked. He's a wrestler, and he literally is a freshman in high school. He just went to an open wrestling tournament, college wrestling tournament, where it was college wrestlers, and he took 4th in his weight class out of 17. And he's only a freshman. Let's put it this way. And Justin, who couldn't join us tonight, Chael Sonnen mentioned my little cousin's name, and his segment was, "When is too young, too young?" And basically, he sort of talked trash to me on my little cousin and my cousin for letting his son do it, this, that, whatever. But they end up speaking, getting it cleared the air. But so he did apologize for my cousin for thinking that. But real quick, young is too young if you go and get destroyed. Yeah. That's not what happened. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm looking for next week, brother.
Sounds great. So for Chops, my name is Drew. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for subscribing. Don't forget to catch us every Friday night at 10 p.m. It's on the ticker down low on the ESEN network on the Roku channel. And also check out our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. We also got a Twitter X page. It's at Haymakers and Submissions. Check it out. Thank you for watching. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you for watching the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. You can find us on the ESEN network on the Roku app every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time beginning on October 4th, 2024. Check us out on Twitter X. Our handle is at HeySubPod, capital H, capital S, capital P. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. Just go to your web browser and type in www.youtube.com/@Haymakers and Submissions podcast, as we will drop content weekly. Whether it's boxing, MMA, or wrestling that gets you fired up, you'll get all you need right here at the Haymakers and Submissions podcast.